What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Tuesday morning, October 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. Big Tuesday in sports today. Coming off an okay Monday, 2-1 in NBA to go 5-2 now so far in the year. Very close to sweeping the board. The Spurs looked like they had it all the way and then slipped up late. So I thought I was going to be coming in here 6-1 at one point, but 5-2 I will take for the season. The work play of the day, cash as well. Joe Anisi first in the chat. We have a game 6 of the World Series. We got NHL, we got NBA, we got Parlay Papi joining us in 28 minutes. 20 minutes after that, we'll be joined by Teddy Covers. It's all being covered here this evening. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Beats in the house says, we going to get a game 7 of the World Series? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll make $350 if the Astros win tonight. Not a big score, but I will take it, and I won't hedge until Game 7. Even then, I'll probably just hedge the tiniest bit. If I do even bother hedging, it's not a ton of cash, but feel good. JF says, great NHL card today. Let's get some, Jimmy. I'm looking forward to capping this whole card down, and we will do it in-depthly through both shows. Prince of the City in the house. Brad Hansen, Larry Medallo. Larry, I've got you locked today, 1 p.m. I'm going to look into everything, and I will be in touch with you, my friend. I'm sorry that this is happening. Eric Nisbet says, let's back those Astros for the clinch. I just sit back and hope the cash comes my way. Dear Slayer Ski in the house. Brad Hansen saying Leicester resting players should beat Burton, though. Thank you for the heads up. Brothers Rye Cape in the house. Ready to get to work. AM. 0-1 start to the week to the Titty Sauce play today, but we are making it back today. Much better card, and I have a great play for everyone. Can't wait to hear it. AM, thank you for sharing your hard work. 10 yesterday. It's my show. It's 9:03 here. So sorry if I said 10 yesterday. It's going to be 1 p.m. today. And I will respond to you, Larry, and take care as much as I can. I'm sorry that this is going on. All right. Branson, you are a good man. Vaughn Polo says, let's get this show started. There's Ann America in the house. How about them Dolphins? Jansen ready to go. Jansen Bonds and serious business. Capping 24/7. So shout out to Mally Mal on the hockey picks. Yes, shout out to Mally Mal. There's Shadow in the house. 4-2 and cash to 14 parlay. That's just a decent day for Shadow. What a monster this man is. Cobra Sports 609. Walla Dos. Carlos Peroche says tonight will be the night my Nationals get back on track. Sad for you guys. It looks so promising there. Too bad you couldn't have Scherzer in Game 5. Hopefully his back's okay for Game 7 if it gets there. Von Polo ready to go. Beats. It's Big Tuesday. Is right, Jimmy. Let's cash. Sebastian Arnold, Ty Clinton, James. Moses Saucedo, Avi Gold. Nice to see Avi Gold. Haven't seen him in a while. What a great group. Nut Flush Allen in the house. Scott says, hit my 2 NBA Anders and give it all back on the Trae Young prop. How's the guy not hitting one more 3 after the first quarter? Yuck. Yeah, I feel you. And Matt Randall. Yes, Bitcoin. And you get 100% bonuses at most books with Bitcoin. So it's a good look here. Brad Hand said, Jimmy, I don't like the Nuggets defense at the moment. Giving up leads doesn't look. But it's early in the season. First 3 games have gone under. Yeah, they're playing towards unders. They're a situational team as well. They step up against good teams and fall flat against bad teams. They are a team that we should fade situationally without a doubt, especially at home against weak opposition. But they cashed for us last night, and that's all we need is for them to cash for us. Treyx says, taking that series price to plus 525 if they win Game 6, come back on Astros Game 7. Yeah, I get that a ton. Christian Walsh, ready to get to work. Bob Berube, ready to get to work. Okay, let's get to work right now. And we are, looking, I got a little scared there. Princess City says, is it, or do we have Spin Cycle again? We're in action. There's Nuke Worker in the house from Darlington Nuclear. There's Slats45 says, good morning, Jimmy. We'll be at the Vegas Habs game Thursday, and the news you've been waiting for. Nate Schmidt is back. Habs will be on back-to-back, so night's big. I think you're right, Slats. I think there's Mr. Gokster in the house. Rich, the NHL cappers coming together. Okay, so 25 minutes, we're going to be joined by Parlay Papi. We're going to start with the baseball game with Parlay Papi. Then we're going to move into NHL with Papi. So right now, the main thing for me to take care of is the association. And we are cashing in the association. There's my guy, AM Moneyline. Chris Temple, Ill Wise in the house. Rafa, could you put up this NBA record? It's early. It's early in NBA and NHL, but we are looking good. We are seeing things clearly. There's Ronnie Christie in the house. I feel very, very good about what's happening in the association. Nate the Great ready to go. Ricky Bobby in the house. All right, let's go. I'm going to bring up Sportsbook Review odds page here at sportsbookreview.com. SBR odds page should be open at all times. Atlanta, Miami. Total opens up at 224.5. Now 225. Miami Heat open up at -7.5. Now they're at -8. Atlanta on the second half of a back-to-back. And Jimmy Butler expected to make his Miami Heat debut. Ronnie Chris, how's your Tuesday, Jimmy? Feels good, man. Feels good to be here with you guys. All right. And Sweaty Butcher says, bet the Pelicans overs until the streak ends, guys. It makes sense to me. Nuke Warrior says, good call with my Raps last night, Jimmy. Yes, I loved it. Noli No says, a lot of defense early in the NBA. I love it. Christopher Comtine says, Rockets trash. I wish my leans are cashing too. That's why I feel like we are going to be in good company here with a lot of cash in our pocket when it comes to the association. Let's go. Hawks 1-0 on the road, 2-1 overall. Heat 2-1 overall, 1-0 at home. Hawks have scored 110 points per game, allowed 101.3, and both teams are distributing and rebounding fine. Heat 120 points per game, allowing 114.3. There's my guy Teo Martinez in the house. Matt Randall says, shout out to SBR jamming with J Money yesterday on the show. Gave out Orlando first half under 107.5. Easy casher. It was an easy casher. That was great stuff. I did watch that as well. And I went up against them with the Raptors. And I want them on this show as much as possible. They are great cappers, and I love the show very, very much. Brad, there's Mally Mal ready to get to work. Brad Hansen says Jimmy Hawks score high in the first half, but struggle in the second half. Keep going under in the second half. They do, and especially in a back-to-back, I expect them to roll early. Jansen says too many points for Miami to cover. Hawks on second half back-to-back. They lost 105-103 at home to the Sixers last night. As I said, Butler coming back. He missed the first 3 games of the season on paternity leave after the birth of his first child. So we're going to have to see who's going to sit, because Kendrick Nunn deserves to roll. Undrafted last year, played the year on the Warriors development squad, 2018, 2019, before the Heat signed him. He has scored 67 points, most in franchise history by a rookie over the first 3 games. He leads Miami with 22.3 points per game, and that figure also tops all NBA rookies. Scott says, I'm just here to listen to Jimmy talk about a sport called hockey. Sounds awesome. I love it. Awesome. I love it, Scott. We'll be going there. Ski Profit in the house joining us. So he will also have to figure out Dion Waiters at some point, or just move him. I'm surprised they brought him back. He was unhappy sitting on the bench last year. He looks like he's going to be unhappy again this year. They've also been without James Johnson. This is a team that just always seems to get the most out of their players. James Johnson comes in to play out of shape and hasn't been playing. Derek Jones, groin injury, missed Miami's most recent game. Richard Lee says Hawks first quarter again, and I agree with that. With Butler coming back, and I agree with that Hawks first quarter. I really do. Nick Allegretti saying Raptors play great defense. Really need to keep an eye on the under first half. I agree. I agree with this look for the Hawks early. I really do. Hawks first quarter. Let's see. We're getting a money line of, wow, Hawks. Is that first quarter? Wow. I mean, how do you not jump on that Hawks money line first quarter plus 170? Oh, that's so appealing. Or do we take the 2.5 points? There's Lamont Williams in the house. DJ Big Boss in the house. Ski Profit also going to be there with the boys in Vegas this weekend, man. It's going to be so much fun. Ben Sports 24/7 says Heat's defense is a real deal. Hawks won't be able to run and gun like they usually do. Man, I find this very appealing. And I guess I find the 2.5 points very appealing. First quarter plus 2.5 points. God. Ski Profit leaning first half over. All right, I'm jumping in. My first play on this card, Hawks first quarter plus 2.5. Plus 2.5 at -103 at Pinnacle. Plus 2.5 -103 at Pinnacle, locking in. Vincent Hawkins says go for the 170, Jimmy. I'm going to go for the plus 2.5, and we'll see how that works out, Vincent. But I agree. It does feel like plus 170 is a ton of value. Casano Magic says Heat cover first half. We got Shadows action. Houston first 5 run line. Boston puck line. Nashville puck line. Winnipeg puck line. Miami -7.5. And the Lakers first quarter -3.5. There's Red Girl in the house joining us. Ronnie Christie liking that plus 170. I get it. But first quarter plus 2.5. I'm going to take it. Mr. Ghoster, it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be spectacular. Yes, Prince of the City. It was a... I'm very thankful that came up for me. My prop on Fitzpatrick passing attempts. I should not have cashed it, but it cashed. Let's just move on from that. Okay, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. I'm on the Atlanta Hawks first quarter at plus 2.5. Let's keep rolling so we can dip into NHL a little bit. All right. Hawks first quarter plus 2.5 and minus 103. Let's move on to Mavericks Nuggets. Here's another team on the second half of a back-to-back, that being the Denver Nuggets. Mavs playing good ball early, averaging 116.7 points per game, 112.3 points allowed, not getting much distribution. Either is the Nuggets, 22.3 assists for the Mavs. 22.5 assists a game for the Nuggets. There's Naeem, 25 in the house. Said, been a while since I've been on. Great to see everyone still here. Much love to you, Naeem. Bob Ruby says, let's do both. I can understand both, but I'm just going to stick with the 2.5. That's a pretty nice first quarter spot. And we shall see. I guess I just don't have a ton of confidence early in the year to take these plus lines. I'd really just rather get wins. All right, let's go. Jokic, 9 points in last night's 101-94 road win at Sacramento. Just feels like a spot for these Dallas Mavericks. Let's go to full game totals and spread right now and see what we are dealing with. And it's 5.5. There were 6s earlier, and it's now 5.5. Dallas lost 121-119 at home to Portland. Denver getting good ball from Jamal Murray. Good ball. And Jokic, 9 points in the win, 13 boards. Porzingis playing well early in the year. 26.3 points, 5.7 boards, 3.3 assists, 2.7 block shots. Luka leads the team in scoring. It just feels like Ski Props' only Nuggets player to play 30 minutes was Jamal Murray. And Eric Nisbet says Mavs versus Nuggets under the number. Ben Sport 24/7 like Mavs plus 5.5. Like how Porzingis and Doncic are playing together. Smooth transition for the team. Von Burgess already grabbed the Mavs at plus 6. Astute Chaos leading Dallas first half plus 3. I think when a team's on the second half of a back-to-back, they can come out strong. It's about them fading late. Scotty Wap liking the Porzingis over rebounds. And Princess hits that Jokic was in foul trouble the whole game, said a lot. And that seems to be an issue for him. Eric Nisbet says sprinkle that Mavs money line as well. Ski Props says Mavs weren't good on the road last year. Nuggets a good home team. Breets beats Dallas first half, looks good. I don't know why we'd be focusing on the first half instead of the full game against a team that's on the second half of a back-to-back. Ski Profit leaning Nuggets minus 5.5 says they are deep. Elliot V says Nuggets will win. Nuggets are getting a ton out of their bench right now. They made some good moves. They have a deep team. All right, I'm going to stay off that game at this point. Let's move on to Grizzlies, Lakers, and see what we're dealing with here. It's a 12. There are 11.5 at some books. It did open at 12. And James says Nuggets roll. Eddie Oler, Nuggets all under so far. And Ski Profit says Nuggets don't start strong, Jimmy. I mean, they started fine in a very important game against the Blazers. They started poorly against their home opener against the Suns, where they didn't really care. I don't know if we have enough sample size to really trust how they are going to play at this point. But I hear you, Ski Profit, and love having you in the chat. Eddie Oiler leaning to the under. Brad Hans says, Jimmy, if Hawks hit their shots, they should win. And Barbecue Sauce Titty, play of the day, Siri. Parma, money line, plus 180. There he is again. Our guy, AM, always giving us the giant plus lines for his Barbecue Sauce Titty play of the day. All right, let's look at this total. Open at 219.5, now 219. Man, did that under cash easily for us a couple games ago on that Friday spot with the Lakers. In the Lakers Jazz, cashed by 25, 30 points. And I'm 6-1 in the NBA contest as well right now going off. Grizzlies Lakers. Grizzlies scoring 12.3 points per game. Ja talking about himself in third person. That is a dangerous thing to be doing as a rookie. 121 points allowed. They're allowing too many points. Lakers 105.7 points per game. 99.7 points are allowed. They're playing good defense. And Ski Profit says playoffs last year, Nuggets first quarter was their fade. They got up for Portland because they put him out of the playoffs. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Morant scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, assisted on Crowder's game-winning bucket. Grizzlies beat the Nets 134-133. Morant averaging 18 points, 6 assists through 3 games. Lakers won their second straight Sunday 120-101 victory over the Hornets. Davis 25 of his 29 points in the first half. LeBron took over in the second half. Seems like everything is coming together for them. Dwight Howard, 16 points, 8 of 8 from the field. Let's see what Nutflush on says. I'm going to track each day as well as betting and love it. And AD prop under rebounds. I've already cashed a few going to ride. Apparently, it looks like he only wants to rebound once every few games. That's from our Nutflush Allen. Don Ricci liking Nats team total over 2.5 against the Astros. Under 4 first 5. Says Strats. win this, take the plus 500 series bet instead of Matt's money line. I think it's a great call, Dom Ricci. Absolutely great call. If you are backing the Nats, take them to win the series, and you have that perfect hedge spot. All right. Well, I do think that this game will slow down with the Lakers being involved. I do. That's just the way they're playing right now. And I want to go right back to the under. But we just saw them put up 120 on Sunday. Maybe I should just stay off it at this point and study more. I'd love to hear what Ski Profit is doing with this spot, Grizzlies Lakers. It's his Lakers, and I'd love to hear what he thinks of this spot. Ron Crawford says Grizzlies a spreadsheet play. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Alexis Santiago liking that under 219.5 is the play. I agree. Just a little concerned about how the Grizzlies have been letting up too many points. There's Noli Nose in the house. I'm going to do nothing at this point. I'm just going to take Atlanta first quarter plus 2.5 against Miami, working in Jimmy Butler. Much love to you, Lamont Williams. Thank you for stopping by. Avant Burgess saying Memphis playing at a faster pace. Christian Wall saying Lakers at home is dangerous. Breed Speed saying Lakers smash. Let's move on to NBA. NHL. I only have one look on NBA card. I am taking the Atlanta Hawks first quarter plus 2.5. Ski Profit saying Grizzlies have been playing faster lately. Mr. Gokster, I got to spend more time on the Breeders' Cup. I did the live line last night. Had a great time doing it, but focused on football last night. So I'm gonna be working on that nonstop through the rest of the week. So I'll give you more ideas. But honor code, it doesn't hurt him with the outside post because he's gonna start slow, let them break, and he's just gonna go right to the rail. So for horses like that, like honor code, it doesn't hurt. He's just gonna go right to the rail and make that big run. Okay, so that's it. Let's move on to NHL. We were off. Ben Sports 147 says John Moran ankle roll serious. I've heard that he's good to go, but I'd love to hear from others. Rafa, can we pop up that NHL record? And we've started well, but we've been very pensive, very hesitant about making moves, and now is the time to start making more moves. So let's look at this first game that I like the most, and that's backing the Dallas Stars at home on the -1 line against the Minnesota Wild. Let's talk about that spot right off the top. Alex Stalock up against Ben Bishop. Bishop made that error in his last game against Pittsburgh, and they're playing strong, sound defensive hockey, these Dallas Stars. Look at that total at 5. Unbelievable total at 5. Big Review saying Code of Honor, Vino Rosso in great spots, man. I can't wait to cap that. Can't wait to watch that. And Corey Maxim, the Hawks going to be great against the spread this year. Nilo in the house. Thank you for joining us. Says, I like the Jets today. Anaheim is fading. I agree with that, but Jets without Line A, I don't know if I want to back. Von Polo on Edmonton puck line. Eddie Oilek and Wild Stars under 5. Let's talk about this Stars team. They're actually playing better hockey than their record indicates, and that's the buy-on spot. We're going to get them at a great spot. Antoine Seymour liking the Bruins puck line as well. I love what Bishop said after that mistake. It echoed the words of Ken Dryden. For those of you who read the game as youngsters, they had very similar things to say about missing that once every 100 times, making a mistake like Bishop did that got the Penguins the first goal. I love the leadership of Bishop. I think he's a good goaltender. Wild scoring 2.36 goals per game, allowing 3.36. Stars scoring 1.92 goals per game, but their power play is going to get hot at some point. It's just at 8.3% right now. Ron Crawford spreadsheet plays coming in: Edmonton, Toronto, and Boston. Going to copy and paste that. Von Polo, we're not entirely sure. There's not going to be a standalone video, so I've got to talk with Flash. We're not entirely sure how we're going to bang out the Breeders at this point, but I've been told that we will be doing a Beat the Bag contest, and I'm hoping so. So I'll know more about that today. Let's just go back to this spot again with the Dallas Stars at home against the Minnesota Wild team that, if you take Dumba out of the lineup, is not good. Both teams have won 3 of their past 4 games. So the Stars were on a 3-game winning streak before, and they played great against the Penguins. They played great. Wild coming off an impressive 5-1 victory over the Kings, but the Kings are trash. So the Wild feel good about themselves with that 5-1 game. So this is also the front end of a half back-to-back for the Wild. They're in St. Louis tomorrow evening. They're kicking off a stretch of 6 of 7 on the road. They've won just 1 of their 7 games on the road so far. Dallas began the season 1-7-1, and they're playing good hockey. They were in position to win that fourth straight game until Bishop made that mistake. They can't score, but they will start scoring. They will start scoring. Mally getting a ton of love for his NHL picks, and richly deserved. Our guy Mal in the house. Lamont Williams, max betting Nationals run line. Okay, going to copy and paste that. Copy and paste that. And sorry, I missed. Oh, you're upset about the video. Yeah, there's just not enough of us, Von Polo. There's just not enough of us, sadly. But I'll talk. There's Gerardo Hernandez in the house. Yes, Brad Hansen, we're going to break down each and every one of these NHL games. We've got lots of time and no need to rush. But I'm going to start by locking in this spot with the Dallas Stars on the -1 line. There we go. So a money line for the Dallas Stars. See what I'm getting there. Quickly, money line for Dallas Stars. And this will be the only play, and I haven't bet it yet. I just wanted to talk it out, make sure I believed in it. And I do. -144 at Bookmaker. So we got money line, -144. And then on the puck line here for these Stars, we're going to point spreads here. And the best puck line we can get is +192 at Heritage. +192. I think that's a great spot. And I am in France. Lock it up. All right. Lock it up. There's perfect rotation in the house. Anders Larson says, Wild just aren't good on the road. I really like this. I really like this spot. Chris Temple saying Jets are worth a look tonight. Ducks played in Vegas Sunday night and stayed over. Partied it up Sunday night. These teams playing after being in Vegas this year 0-6. I think it's a great call, Chris Temple. I'm just a little hesitant to back the Jets. You know, I'm just, without line A, I'm just a little hesitant. Okay, so that's what's up. First play locked in. Dallas Stars -1. All right, let's go into Sharks, Bruins, and then start rolling down. We're going to be joined in 8 minutes. We have 8 minutes before Parlay Papi will be joining us. We'll then go over the first. We'll start with the wild card game, and then we'll go over the rest of the NHL action. All right, let's go do San Jose, Boston. They rested a dangerous Sharks team at the end of a road trip, which is generally not the time you want to back a team, but they are rested. They are rested. Come on, odds page. Here we go. So, San Jose, this total opened at 6. There's been a 2-cent move towards the over. A 2-cent move, 2-cent move towards the under. And now Boston opening up at -193. It is now -201. 8-cent move towards these Boston Bruins. Elliot V says, Jimmy, Jets will win. Jets will win. And Domrich says, Babano all over this Vegas hockey trend. Yes, it worked well for us last year. Mally Mouse says, the funny thing about Vegas flu, though, the teams who lose after playing in Vegas usually beat Vegas, and the Ducks lost, so it's a funny game, says our guy. There's Nilo, best play today for soccer, Barcelona, and over 2.5. Atletico Madrid, over 1.5, and the win, and Inter Milan win, and over 2.5. That's from our guy, Nilo. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us. Copied and pasted. Okay, and then let's get to Sharks, Bruins immediately. Sharks, Bruins immediately. Chris Temple says Ducks suck. And Ron Fix says, I live across from the Orleans. Are we partying this weekend? You're damn right. You guys are partying. Man, I wish I was there. Okay, Sharks scoring 2.58 goals per game, 3.58 goals allowed, 23.8% power play, 93.2% penalty killing. Those special teams are the sign of a team that's going to turn it around. But against the big bad Bruins, who with the Capitals are the best two teams in the East, I don't know. 3.27 goals per game for the Bruins, only allowing 2.09. Look at that power play, 32.4%, 85.3% penalty killing. Wow. And Antoine Seymour says Jets shit to bed tonight. Wow. Sharks conclude a 5-game trek against Atlantic Division's teams. They've lost 4 of its last 5 games, 1-3-1. They've allowed 4 or more goals 8 times this season, while scoring 2 or fewer 6 times. They've not been good. They have not been good. Brad Cape says Ducks been playing well. Against the Senators on Sunday, Sharks gave up a pair of goals. They looked awful. Aaron Dell pulled at the end of the second period. Sharks, as I said, lead the league in penalty killing. Boston is a juggernaut. Lost just once in regulation, first 11 games, coming off a 7-4 rout of the Rangers. None of the Boston 7 goals were scored on the power play. This is a very dangerous team. Marchand, 2 goals, 3 assists. Pasternak, 5 assists. Patrice Bergeron, a hat trick. Marchand extended his point streak to 10 games. Pasternak, 9 games. No team in the Eastern Conference allowed fewer goals than the Bruins at 24. This is just a very good team that might be getting Krejci back. Very, very good hockey team. But Sharks are rested on the road coming off a very bad game. Guillermo says, Jimmy, 3-year-olds from the East Coast to come to the West Coast for the BC Classic are 0-22, but he loves Vino Rosso. God, I can't wait, G. I can't wait, Guillermo. Nilo says Boston will wear Sharks down. I have no move on this game. Although I have some interest in the over. Let's move on to Capitals, Leafs, and take a look here. Washington, Toronto, there's been a 13-cent move towards the Leafs. I like seeing that. This total opened up at 6.5. We cappers in the chat tell us yesterday to make a move on this over yesterday. Over 6.5, open to -115, now -127. I like that there's been a move towards the Toronto Maple Leafs. I want a plus line for the Capitals, and I'm getting it now. Still going to make me hold off a little bit. Nilo saying Bruins are a great home team. Eddie Obasoan saying bet the Bruins every home game. Von Polo said I might not have a voice on Sunday because I'm screaming from the horses. Oh, man, I'm so excited. Tormer said Sharks were looking ahead. I'd lean at them at this price, but tough to back them at the end of the road trip. I agree completely, Tormarino, Tomora, and I'm going to stay off that game, but I do have a bit of a lean to the over. We shall see. Big Roo saying Rosso ready to fire. Capitals, Leafs, Holtby, Anderson. Holtby, 3.64 goals against average, 886 save percentage. We expect him to be in between the pipes. Frederick Anderson, 6.21, 2.94 goals against average, 904 save percentage. Capitals scoring 3.77 goals per game, 3.31 goals allowed. You know, Mally Mal liking the Leafs here. Maple Leafs, 3.54 goals per game, 3.38 goals allowed. They have injuries. They're going to be getting Dermott back. They're going to be getting Hyman back. He's yet to receive clearance to play. He's coming off knee surgery. But they have no Johnny Tavares. That is a big loss. Travis Dermott could be in the lineup here on Tuesday. And they're coming off a 5-2 road loss to the Canadiens on Saturday. They're angry, and I don't want to back them. Tormino leans Washington. Look, I like this number I'm getting here with the Capitals with no Johnny 1T. I like it a lot. I like that money's coming on Toronto, and I don't expect it to continue. In all honesty, I like getting the plus 118 here. Let's take a look at the line history and see if we should make a move now. So it opened there at plus 104. This was yesterday. Then it goes up to plus 109 yesterday. And then it comes down to plus 107 this morning. And then it starts getting hammered. You know what? I like the Capitals at plus 118. Richie Rich says Toronto revenge spot. You know, I don't think Toronto's capable of taking care of it. I really don't. I think this Toronto team is questionable. You know, I was the first to say that there was a reason why the big trade was made, especially from the Avalanche side of things. And I still back that. I still back that Morgan Rielly is very good, but this Leafs defense is not that good, and they're not tough enough, and they don't seem to do enough. They don't hit enough. They're just not a team I want to back. And when you take the heart and soul out, let's see what Gokster says. My issue is Holtby late in games. I can understand that, but let's take a look at this Leafs squad now without Tavares. So you have Matthews, Kerfoot, Spezza, Shore, and Freddie Gauthier down the middle. You don't have Hyman, so your left wingers are Janssen, Moore, and Patan. Then, of course, you have Marner, Nylander, and Kapanen on the right side. I told you, they wanted Tyson Barrie out of the lineup. You know, and I'm getting a plus 118. My guess is this is not available when we come back, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to back the Washington Capitals here. I love this Capitals team. I love that they're 6-1-1 on the road. They like to go into Toronto. They like to put on a show. I'm getting plus 118 at Pinnacle, and this is the one sport where I'm not afraid to go up against market moves, and I'm doing it here. Taking the Capitals here at plus 118. Plus 118 on the money line. That gives me 2 looks on this card. Mr. Gokster says teams know how to play Toronto, and the boys are not buying what Babs is saying. Bob Rubio says Leafs are so soft. Neil saying small, soft team. And Richie Rich says very leaky D with Washington, Jimmy. I hear that they're a very leaky D, but I just read out the roster for the Leafs. The Leafs made that big issue. They're paying their best 2 players $23 million. What happens when you do that? And that's not even including Johnny Tavares. And then when you lose one of those players, and I shouldn't even say their best 2 players because Tavares is, but the amount of money they're playing Marner, Matthews, and Tavares is too much. And then you lose one of them. Christian Walsh liking the over here. Eddie Euler liking the over as well. I think we are getting the Capitals at the best spot. I do not think a plus 118 will be available later on in the day. All right, 9:30, which means it is time for our very own Parlay Papi to join us. Let's see if we can get him up here. So we still have Flyers, Penguins, Flames, Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are interesting. We have Lightning, Rangers. I do not expect the Rangers to want to get in some sort of offensive contest. Mr. Gokster says Barry's not fitting well, and he's not going to. And Sakic needed them out of the dressing room because he's got great young defensemen, and he doesn't want them spoiled by Barry's attitude. So And Shadow's going to run with me on the Capitals here. Tom Marino says Toronto needs a player like Tom Wilson. They need someone to make teams fear them. Every team in the NHL needs a player like Tom Wilson. Every team. All right, so let's just keep rolling along here. We're going to wait till we got Parlay Papi ready to go. Why don't we talk about the Battle of Pennsylvania? And Battle of Pennsylvania is such a spectacular rivalry. Flyers, Penguins in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh opening up at minus 147. They're now minus 156. Philly opening. Oh, let's get to this total right there. Sorry. And Pittsburgh playing low-scoring hockey. This is going to be a rivalry-type game. The total opened up juiced to the under. It's now juiced to the over. So we've seen a 10-cent move towards the over 6.5. And that surprises me. The way Pittsburgh's playing, to think that an over could be in play is surprising. I expect Brian Elliott to be in goal as well. And I expect this to be a tightly played game. And we're getting a 6.5. We talked about having 6.5s and how unbelievably lucky we are in Flyers games. Even though they're scoring 3.5 goals per game, I still think this is going to work for us. Flyers playing their 5th game in 9 days. They're going to be tired. Pittsburgh's going to play tight defensively. No, Scotty, I just took the Caps on the money line plus 118. Just plus 118. Pittsburgh's had a couple days off before they ended their 3-game losing streak with a 3-0 win. They get Brian Rust back. They get Nick Bjugstad back. You know, I like the Penguins here. I like the Penguins. Torino leading Flyers in the under. I'm going to start by taking the under 6.5. I'm going to start by taking the under 6.5. That's going to be my first look here. I'm getting minus 103 at Bet Online. Flyers, Penguins. Oh, and my undefeated streak is over with unders as that Capitals Vancouver Canucks game went way over. Under 6.5 at minus 105. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Now, if Carter Hart is playing, I'm going to be nervous about this. But my prediction is that Brian Elliott will be in the lineup. Matthew Murray's playing good hockey. I'm very comfortable here. Let's keep rolling along, and let's move on to Flames Hurricanes. Riddick versus Mrazek. Flames have not looked good on the road. 2-4-1 on the road. This total is at 6. We're going to go, and I also feel like this is a game that could pop over for us. Both teams capable of scoring. And Flames started the year playing so poorly offensively, and they're going to start scoring. Carolina opens up at minus 141. They're now at minus 135. Daryl Lyles says both Washington teams will win tonight. Mally Mouse like Hart 0-3 on the road. I do not expect Hart to be in there. I expect Brian Elliott to be in there. Rafa, we got a thumbs up that we can move over to very soon. Okay, very soon. Let me know. Okay, I really feel like that there's edges here, and I need to talk them out, and I'm going to need to talk them out with Parlay Papi here. Nate Dogg leaning Carolina in the over. Mr. Gokes, they're loving the over in this Flames-Hurricanes game. That makes sense to me. Svechnikov scored twice. Nito Niederreiter finally got off the schneid himself. Carolina needs this win to match their franchise record for wins and points. The last time they did that was 05-06 when they won the Cup. 8-2-1 in the season's first month then. Mrazek looking good, but not great. We have 2 power plays, Flames at 19% and the Hurricanes at 22%. Flames penalty killing has been good. Jim Rome Zadou says Hart playing. God, I hope not. I'd hope not. And that makes sense, Jim Rome Zadou, because that's why the market's moving towards the over. Dougie Hamilton playing well, 12 points in 11 games. Calgary coming off that Heritage Classic on Saturday night. The Flames have scored more than 2 goals in only 2 of their last 5 games. Christian Walsh loving that Philly pit under. I like it. I feel like the Hurricanes on the -1 line are a look here. I really do. I feel like this Hurricane spot, I want to back them at home, back them against the Flames. I do. Let's take a quick look at what the Flames are dealing with from a depth chart perspective. Let's see if there's any issues that they're dealing with, and there's none. They're a healthy squad. They're just not that good. They're just not that good. Actually, I take that back. I like Sam Bennett as a third-line winger. Lindholm, Frolik, Bennett on the right wing, Goudreau, Kachuk on the left wing, and then Monahan and Backlund. I think the over is appealing. And Mr. Gokser says, give me the 6 ASAP. I think it's time to start making moves on this. Time to start making moves. And I guess I find both the over and the Hurricanes on the -1 line appealing. Rafa, let me know when we're good, my friend. Okay, I'm going to lock in this right now. I'm going to lock both of these in right now. Then Calgary will have a much easier time after getting off the Heritage Classic. Okay. I haven't been able to trust Calgary's offense. Has Calgary's offense woke up? Both power plays are strong. You know what? I don't trust the Flames offense right now. Right now, I'm just going to take the Hurricanes on the -1 line. Let's see what I'm getting. Carolina money line is at -135 here. Carolina money line at -135. And on the -1.5, -1.5. Let's see what I'm getting here. Point spreads. I'm getting a +187. That's available at Heritage. +187. I'm going to stick with that at this point. I feel Chris Temple says Flames are weak, can't score. And Mr. Ghost says, pull that trigger, Jim. I just don't know if I trust these Flames. I just don't know. Bob Ruby disagreeing with both. That's all good. You never need to apologize for that, Bob. You never need to apologize for that. I don't trust the Flames on the road. And we got okay, beautiful. All right, sweet. I just don't trust. A 4-1 final for the Canes is well within a possibility here. So I'm not going to make a move here on the total at this point. Not going to make it. But I like it, Mr. Ghoster, and maybe I do make a move at some point. Okay, let's bring in our guy, Parlay Papi. We don't have a ton of time. We're getting a bit of a late start. Parlay Papi, my man, coming to us live from Long Beach, California. How you doing this morning?
We're here. We're live, Jimmy the Bad Guy. Here we're talking about the Hurricanes. Let's jump right on that real quick, right? You good?
Yeah, let's fire away at this NHL card. You making a move on Flames Hurricanes?
Yes, we're going to go on the -1 line. On the Hurricanes, +114. The reason being, let's get it straight. There's something wrong with this Flames team ever since the beginning of the playoffs last year. Maybe the departure of those guys like Jeff Neal, Michael Stone, I don't know if that's having some type of impact here. But when we look at one of these like hockey metrics, right, the PDO, basically the shooting percentages against 4. So we have this at 97.4 PDO, which is a metric of the save versus shooting percentage, what I just basically said. And we have a median line at 100, meaning if you're below that and you're winning.
All right, we've got a frozen Papi, right? That was going to be very interesting too. I wanted badly to hear what he had to say there, man. I found that quite interesting. We'll get back to him. While we're waiting for him to be locked in, we're going to go into Lightning, Rangers, Vasilevsky, Georgiev. Lightning, 3.30 goals per game, 3.20 allowed. They're not playing good hockey. They have a terrible schedule. They're about to go over to Europe as well. Rangers, 3.22 goals per game, 3.78 goals allowed. Lightning lost 2 of 3, and they just completed a homestand. They're 5-3-2, 3 losses by 1 goal, another by 2 goals. Both teams were off Monday after losing. Lightning fell to the Predators 3-2 in overtime on Saturday. Rangers lost 7-4 to the Bruins. We talked about that game because all the goals were in regulation. Sorry. We're on with even strength. Bruins 6. The loss of the Bruins was the 6th in the last 7 games for these Rangers. They are not playing good hockey. 7 points, tied for the second fewest in the NHL, and we know that Georgiev will be in the lineup. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here on spreads and totals. The Lightning got to get right. They're opening up at -176. They're now -210, so I'm going to have nothing to do with them. But at -176, they might have been a look. But at -210, I'm not. This over has been a 1-cent move to the over 6.5. That's not a move that I like as well. Mr. Gokster says Rangers are fraud. Young Huss says Rangers defense is terrible. And we got Parlay Papi back in action. Papi, take off where you were rolling, man. Flames Hurricanes.
Yeah, we got a spotty David Rittich in net 1-4. Just looks very vulnerable. This team is going to get a lot better, as I was discussing. I don't know where I came off, but long story short, Hurricanes at home -1 +114, Jimmy. So I hear you talking about Boston. Can you hear me okay over here?
Yeah, we're good, buddy. Keep rolling.
All right. So, Boston in this spot, man, it's tough to be a Sharks backer at all right now. 2-6 on the road so far. I normally would just like to take a puck line here with Boston, but the Sharks just got absolutely embarrassed by Ottawa and really, really need to step things up. Peter DeBoer even said, a handful of guys, our stars, are playing like shit. And, that's on – and he's basically saying that's on me, being a bad coach. So let's see if they can do something here. We do know that they're converting, number one, are number one killing the power play penalty in the league. They're hitting 11% or 11 in the league, so they can put stuff up. I expect a better effort. I wanted Boston on the puck line, but I'm going to pass just because I think the Sharks really, really do need to get something done here and maybe keep it close, Jimmy.
I agree. I agree with that breakdown very much. Let's keep rolling because we don't have a lot of time. So I've stayed off that game as well. I'm interested in the Detroit Red Wings here off of an 8-game losing streak. Again, the problem is if you're going to take a team on an 8-game losing streak, you have to be rewarded. And I don't see this as a fair risk-reward situation. Plus 110 to back a team on an 8-game losing streak, so I'm not going to take it. But I expect Jimmy Howard to be back in net. Bernier looked awful last out. Red Wings scoring 2.25 goals per game, but they may have busted out of it in that comeback against the Blues on Sunday. It was a nice comeback. 3-goal, third-period rally, take the Blues to overtime. Larkin, first points in 6 games, and he can get hot. He's a great hockey player. Bertuzzi, a goal and assist. Red Wings are now going to play 3 of their next 5 games on the road. They haven't won at Little Caesars Arena since their home opener. They haven't won a game since October 10th. Edmonton won 2-1 here against Detroit on October 18th. Mally Mouse says, yes, Jimmy, I like the Red Wings tonight. I like them too, but this is not enough for me. I'm not going to take them at this price. Poppy, are you making a move Oilers Red Wings?
Yeah, I agree. Something is absolutely got to change. Detroit is extremely desperate. I mean, Blashill's got to be on the hot seat. That thing has got to be burning that behind of his. Jesus. And things just overall just look really grim. I can't see this being the spot at this price for me to take the Red Wings. And in fact, I almost fell for this trap last week with the Oilers going into Minnesota, right? Going into Minnesota, and I was like, this is a crazy line. These guys are like plus 115, and this is when the Minnesota Wild were like 1-6 or something. And I forgot who I was talking about with, and I was just like, you know what? This is weird. I'm not with it. I don't even see any type of metric that's going to point you in the direction to take the Wild. And, of course I was right. It was a good layoff. I feel like this is a similar situation. Oilers look very tempting. Why not still punish this team in the Red Wings? I absolutely think the Red Wings are going to lose. This is a weird line. I expect – here's the thing with the Oilers. If McDavid and Drysdale, like we've been always saying, if they're not being a highlight reel – finishing every single amazing players, but if they're not doing work, now James Neal, their other guy who was scoring, isn't doing anything. So it's them or nothing. And that's the whole problem with this Edmonton Oilers team. And if they're going to work these guys like McDavid and Drysdale and have them on the ice for the amount of time that they're on, these guys are not going to do anything in this season besides be a disappointment. So I think that this is a line that says take Edmonton. I really want to. I wanted to just like I did last week, but I'm gonna lay off. I don't know if the Red Wings win. I don't think they win, but I just can't get on this line. It's weird. Minus 120 is strange at this spot.
Yeah, I agree with that breakdown a lot. Young Suave liking Oilers, Bruins, and Lakers. Cash it. Here's another spot. Blackhawks, Preds. I would back the Preds, but I'm not going to without knowing if Duchesne and Forsberg are going to be in the lineup. Duchesne dealing with a lower body injury. He took part in Monday's practice. He's so important to this team. Josie and Ellis are leading this team and playing great, but I need Duchesne, who has 2 goals and 9 assists, 11 points in 10 games, and I need Philip Forsberg, who says he's feeling better, but he's still in a non-contact jersey at practice, so I don't know if he's going to play. Predators have won 3 games in a row. Look, I love this hockey team. I got futures all over them, but still, I'm not going to bet on them until I know I've got these guys in the lineup. And Nashville opening up at minus 199, it's down to minus 184, 15-cent move towards the Blackhawks. And I will take the Predators minus 1.5 if these guys are in the lineup. Do I want them the first game back? I don't know. Blackhawks snapped their 4-game losing streak, 5-1 win at home over the Kings on Sunday. The Kings are trash. DeBrincat and Strome starting to score. That they need that desperately. Predators are 5-1-1 at home this year. Blackhawks are just 0-2-0 on the road. Played most of their games at home. Are you making a move here?
Yeah, I mean, congrats to the Chicago Blackhawks thrashing the Kings. I mean, who cares? At the end of the day. Before that, the Blackhawks had 2 goals in the previous 3 games, losing all 3 of those. And there's so many issues with this team that I was really high on coming in here. I mean, Towns is not scoring. Kane is no way going to have a similar season to last year. Sad is doing okay with a few goals they have, but the special teams horrible. 9% power play on 33 opportunities. The only person with over 7 points on this whole team is actually Kane with 9. And we thought that, Robin Lehner coming over here would actually make this team even better. And it doesn't look that way. Corey Crawford is completely unreliable. And, I think the Predators are they're live here. I definitely want to take them on the -1.5 line here as well with you, Jimmy. But I don't know. I think I like another look here. And this is my angle. Because the Predators on this little streak they're on have outscored the opposition 13-3. Pekka Rinne in tonight with a 1.98 goals against this year already, and has, a bit of them off stat, this team as a whole in the Predators. 13th in goals allowed. Now that's because Saros, the backup to Rinne, who actually did a lot better his last time out, has a 3.99 goals against average and a 1-3 record. So when he's in net, they're getting a little bit abused. And that's just almost as bad as Jonathan Quick was. So they really aren't 13th in goals allowed. They're more like, 22nd, 23rd, which is elite. And we got Corey Crawford, like I was saying, on the road, 4.07, just miserable, unreliable. And, the Preds offense rolling, but I agree. I would like to see who's specifically in the lineup. But what I do trust enough, I don't think the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be scoring here. I don't think that took anything out of the funk that they're in, beating down on these Kings. And my poor guy, Jack Campbell, R.I.P. Jack. But I think that I want to do a team total under on the Predators. I'm sorry, on the Chicago Blackhawks here. At 2.5 at -115. I don't expect Rinne not to have an amazing game. And sure, maybe the offense won't be so live on the Predators. But at the same time, you're at home in that arena. Come on, that place is packed. What are we going to do here, Jimmy the Bad? We got a team total under 2.5 at -115. What do you think of that look?
I don't dislike it. I don't dislike the look, but the Predators are still
allowing
Blackhawks,
not Predators.
Yeah, Blackhawks under. The Predators are still allowing 3 goals a game, and their penalty killing's at 71.4%.
But that's anomalized. Look who the goaltender is for those type of games. That's the point here. It's Saros, 3.99 goals against 1-3. Pekka Rinne, 1.98. He's only allowed over 2 goals once in the 5 games he's played, Jimmy. So that's where I'm getting at here. It's really not that stat. That's not accurate.
Yeah, I hear that, and that it's all this. Your look here is completely legitimate, but with the Predators penalty killing at 71.4%. Now I know the Blackhawks power play is only at 9.7%, but we know what this can do. And I kind of like Colin scratching Seabrook last game. He's demanding accountability even from the vets, and I don't like team totals at 2.5. I've historically not been great with them, so I get it. But I'm not going to make a move. Mr. Gokster thinks Blackhawks will fire. He says Blackhawks like a horse coming off its second race, almost won it. I'm off this game, but if I do find out both Forsberg and Duchesne are in the lineup, I may make a move. Are you going to pull the trigger on that 2.5?
Yeah, I'll also be on the -1 line or 1.5 because I think at -1 you probably only get -140. So if you are going to make a play on the Predators to get that value, you definitely want to get the puck line to get, I believe, a +112. But I would like to make sure who's in the lineup. We are pulling the trigger on that team total under. I don't know if about these Blackhawks, Jim in the bag. I think there's some more issues going on here.
I don't think they're going to be a good team this year. I'm on the under 89.5 points. That was the last future that I put in. Jets, Ducks. Let's quickly touch on this so at least we've touched on all the games. Then we're going to go to your actual plays. Hellebuck, Gibson. I think the Ducks are bad, but I also think the Jets are bad. So I'm not sitting here going, oh, man, there's no line A for the Jets. Their defense is trash. I'm just not going to back them here. Neither team scoring goals. Jets allowing more goals. The Jets have a 64% power or penalty killing. I mean, that's just absolutely terrible. They were outscored 17-8, going 1-4 in their 5-game homestand. 8th in NHL in shots, but 24th in goals. I think both teams are bad, and I don't want to make a move here.
Yeah, I mean, the Ducks have really hit a wall in a big way, losing 4 of the last 5, scoring 5 goals in 4 of those losses total. That's 5 goals in 4 games. This team is deja vu all over again. They can't get it together offensively. Does that show something about that entire system in Anaheim? Absolutely. And with the Jets, they're absolutely unbackable here. You know what I mean? Considering some of these newer injuries, like you said, Line A, and then now Lowry suspended. It's a team that's going to continue to struggle and just not any team I want to have anything to do with either of these guys right now. It's two very unbackable teams at this price. I mean, you're basically asking us to flip a coin because of what the situation is here currently, right? I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, I'm not interested at all. So that's my NHL card, and it's locked in. I'm sorry we didn't have more time with you today, Papi. We didn't get to some of your other looks, so I'm just going to say my looks on the NHL card, and let's hear what you have in store. I'm on the Capitals money line at plus 118, going against the market move with confidence there. I'm on the under 6.5 Flyers Penguins. And I think that might be my favorite look on this entire card. I'm on the Hurricanes on the -1 line. And I got money line -135, a puck line plus 187. And then my very first play, so maybe my very first look on this card probably is my favorite, although I do love that 6.5. And that's the Stars on the -1 line against the Wild. I expect the Stars to get on a roll at home here, and I don't like the Wild, don't like them on the road. What are your looks on this NHL card, Papi?
Yeah, I can't touch the Stars until we see some differentiation in that offense system they got here. It's kind of like last year, but like 20 times worse. But I agree, they're going to be a lot better. This might be the right time to take them versus this Wild team with Mr. Stalock and net. But I'm going to keep it simple. We didn't have time to go over through everything here. Just two looks. We like Carolina here. I don't think that it's going to be a good spot for the Flames. I expect the Flames to do a lot better this year. It's indicated by some of these hockey metrics that don't really, I don't know how much you want to take those into consideration. It's not as accurate as baseball because there's a lot more puck luck, you call it, right, in hockey. So we're going to go Carolina -1, and that's at plus 114, Jimmy. And we're also going to hit these Blackhawks to stop the roll. These guys are on fire, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. 2 goals in the last 3 losses they had. I'm sorry they went 5-1 on these Kings. Give me a fucking break, dude. Blackhawks team total under 2.5. Jimmy the bag. So that's 2 looks for you.
I love it very, very much. And just quickly, because I'm going to open with this with Teddy, are you making a move on Game 6 of the World Series?
Well, let's look at it like this. How did Strasburg pitch last time? I mean, he starts with a heavy fastball. Astros are probably the second best hitting of those fastballs in the league. Follows that up with his, secondary stuff with the changeup. That was the key to getting those strikeouts. Only 7 of them last time out. But do you think the Astros don't recognize what that is, what's going on there? That was his key pitch, and I think we talked about it last week with Ian as well. So I think that the Astros definitely have an edge here on the hitting with Strasburg. But Verlander, there's absolutely no way I want anything to do with him. He looks so out of control, admitting he's kind of out of control, and out of control, like completely missing location to almost everything in the first part of the game. I don't know if you want to take a look at something live. If you start seeing Verlander getting all over the place, it's going to be a long night. I do think the Washington Nationals are live power with some of the for Strasburg, at least in the first 5. I don't expect them to get annihilated. But, I would do Nationals. First 5, if anything, I'm absolutely going to pass on this game and retire with my 14-4 MLB postseason record, you guys. So we'll catch you tomorrow. Hopefully cashing these 2 plays on the NHL. And good luck to everybody out there. Good luck, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. There he is, Parlay Papi in the house. Follow this man on Twitter. Follow him. It's Papi_Parlay. Let me make sure that's it, though, because I get it wrong sometimes. Let me just grab it very quickly here and give you his exact Twitter handle. Do follow him. Yes, Papi_Parlay. Follow this man on Twitter. Nilo's saying first 5 over. Not sure, Jimmy. Look, I've got a future. It's not a big one. It's $175 and plus 200 on the Astros. And I'm just going to sit back and hope it cashes at this point and maybe make a decision. It's sort of a free roll because I had $350 on them to win the AL at -105. So it's sort of a free roll here, and I may just let it go. But we'll ask what Teddy Covers thinks about this spot, Strasburg, Verlander, and he's right about not wanting to trust Verlander. 5.73 ERA over 6 career World Series starts. Not good. Not good. Let's bring in our guy, Teddy Covers, coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada, Tuesday morning. Teddy, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. I'm a little bit cold betting-wise, as you well know. I mean, they gave you an 0-3 in the NBA last night. So we're a little frustrated in that regard, but life goes on, and November goes, and we roll in November right here. So it's not a time for the weary to take a break. And of course, one thing that I was able to do yesterday, I was able to get some of the college football work done that I didn't get done on Sunday night / Monday morning. So we're doing okay, Jimmy. We're not happy with the way things have gone the past week or two. But that being said, we exhale. We had a moment. We took our little change of pace, and what do we do on Tuesday? Right back to the grindstone.
Right back to the grindstone. Well said, Teddy. I love it. And I don't love seeing us feeling like the status quo is unacceptable, but I do love watching the highs and lows and how you handle them, because it teaches us a lot. And I need to work on handling the lows badly, because I find the losses hurt so much more than the wins at times. And that's just not good if you want to do this for a long time. Let's go into
Let me jump in real quick, Jimmy.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Because what you're saying, you're not unique, okay? We all enjoy the highs. The lows are brutal. And that is something that doesn't necessarily change as you're in the business longer. What happens is you get more used to getting slapped. And you're like, okay, I've been through this before. Doesn't make it easier, doesn't make it better. But the bottom line is what you're going through is what we all go through sometimes, what I'm going through right now. The losses and the losers, they're going to make you crazy. And if they don't make you angry, well, then you're not, you need that emotional fire when you like, hey, I did this wrong. Oh, I was so wrong on that. Oh my God, I suffered this brutal beat. Whatever it is, that emotional fire can be captured and help you work harder moving forward, but it can also eat you alive. And that's what we try to avoid. And that's one of the things that Jimmy and I are certainly trying to counsel you as we talk every weekday morning here at SBR.
Absolutely, absolutely. Coming off a nice day in NBA now, so 5-2 is my record on the season. We're going to talk NBA, but let's start with this big World Series Game 6, Strasburg-Verlander. Strasburg in the playoffs, 4-0, 1.93 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. Nats now hitting in the postseason poorly. They were hitting pretty well, but their numbers have dropped in the last few games. Obviously, outscored 19-3 in their 3 games in Washington. Now hitting 247.03 OPS against righties in the postseason compared to that 258.785 OPS against righties in the regular season. Astros are hitting better now, obviously. 254.766 OPS against righties in the postseason, and that's now getting closer to their 274.840 OPS against righties in the regular season. Verlander does not look very good, but at this point, sitting with the Astros plus 200 in my pocket, I'm just going to sit back and watch. Do you have any leans here? Game 6, Nationals, Astros, Teddy Covers.
Let me start first with a future recommendation. If you have a Houston future in your pocket, you know what you do tonight is absolutely nothing. All right. You don't want to think about hedging, worrying about hedging, any of that until the Astros are on the verge of elimination. If this game goes to if the series goes to Game 7 tomorrow night, you can absolutely make a move. For tonight, I would not recommend, if you have Houston, at anything in your pocket. I would not hedge off that in a Game 6 situation where the Astros can't lose the series tonight. So I don't think there's any move to make for anyone that's trying to lock in a profit for the future book, unless obviously you have the Nats, in which case you may want to take some Houston, but you're obviously having to lay a price to do it. This has been a series where there has been no home field advantage whatsoever. The home team has lost each of the first 5 games. Last time this happened in the World Series, did happen once that I can remember in my lifetime, was when the Yankees lost the first 2 at home to the Braves in '96 and then proceeded to win 4 in a row, including the first 3 in Atlanta. And then they came home and took Game 6 at home. And, Houston deserves to be the chalk here. The Nats bats have gone cold. And for all of Verlander's struggles, it's not about the starting pitching matchup in any elimination game. It's about who's going to get the clutch hits, and what bullpen can come in and get outs, and who manager you're going to use in that bullpen this evening facing elimination. So the basic point for me is there's no hedge to be made if you have Houston. For the game itself, boy, I'm not even close. I think the Astros are the better team. When you have this type of momentum and winning 3 in a row in Washington, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see the series end tonight. But am I willing to lay this price with Verlander? I'm not. Strasburg's cashed a couple times as a big dog. So it's an easy pass for me. I'm not going to get involved.
Do you agree with our MLB handicappers in the chat that if you want the Nationals tonight, that you should take them? It's plus 575 to win the series. Take them at plus 575, and then you have an opportunity to hedge. What do you think of that angle? Instead of taking Nationals to win the night, you take them plus 575 to win the series.
I would, again, we don't even know the starting pitching matchups for Game 7, but I would anticipate that if you bet 100 on Houston, on Washington tonight, and get back your plus one, plus 160, and then you take that and roll it over into Game 7 for the Nats, you'll get a better ROI than you would if you would just take Washington to win the series right now. So the Nats got to win 2 in a row. It's a real easy rollover situation. The easy way is just take the Nats in the series right now. You'll make a little bit more money if you just take them game by game and roll it over. That you do make your own parlay without the sports book being involved. That would be my recommendation here.
Eddie Euler saying probably my last bet of the MLB season. Nats, Astros under 7.5. If you got a free play on the total, would you try to go over this or under this?
I'd probably try to go over. We already talked about not trusting Verlander. Papi Parlay came in with excellent analysis talking about how the way that Strasburg pitches works for Houston. The Astros bats are hot. I would, if I had a free bet on the total, I would go over.
Free bet would go over. Interesting stuff. I've got nothing on this game at this point. There you have it. There's Game 6 of the World Series, which we'll be talking about throughout these shows today, this morning, and this afternoon. Let's get into the association. I have made one move, sitting at 5-2 on the season. I'm taking the Atlanta Hawks first quarter, and it kind of rolls with what you were talking about with a star coming back into the lineup and Jimmy Butler coming back into the lineup after the birth of his first child, and they're rolling without him. And now there's going to be chemistry issues. We know the Hawks are on the second half of a back-to-back, but usually those teams can get off to an okay start. It's the third and fourth quarter that they get the heavy legs. I'm on the Atlanta Hawks first quarter plus 2.5. And that is my only look on this NBA card. What do you think of that look and angle? And do you have any looks on these 3 games?
I love that look, Jimmy. Makes a ton of sense to me. And we saw it last night repeatedly in the teams playing the second night of back-to-backs, because that's going around the league right now. The teams on the second night of back-to-backs, they got gashed in the fourth quarter. Second half. First half, they were game after game. They were in there winning first quarters, winning first halves. And Miami is not a team that they're not a home favorite team. They're not a margin team. They're a slow start team. There's all kinds of reasons to like Atlanta in the first quarter. It makes a ton of sense to me.
Beautiful. I like it. I feel like I'm seeing things clearly, and I've been very slow to make moves early in the season. I'm being very patient, and I feel very good about what's gone on so far. Are you making any moves in these other 2 spots on the card tonight in NBA?
Not even close. Not even. I mean, this was a day. And again, I shot an offer in the NBA yesterday. Short card today. Gave the games one thorough look last night. I'm like, no. Woke up this morning, gave another look, said no. I was slightly tempted by Charlotte plus the points against the Lakers. I don't know if I want to be laying double digits with the Lakers just yet. But Charlotte's only road game. They let go of the rope. I said Charlotte. I meant Memphis. Bottom feeders. Those bottom feeders. Memphis' only road game at Miami, in fact, they let go of the rope in that game, and that concerned me here. I was leaning in their direction. I don't want to be laying doubles with the Lakers, but it wasn't enough to pull the trigger. Dallas, Denver. I was watching the Nuggets last night. Mike Malone almost lost his mind in that game. Denver did everything they could to blow a 15-point lead in the closing minutes. Nuggets, maybe I lean Dallas in that game a little bit, but I'm not convinced that the Mavs are going to be getting stops the way that the Nuggets can. I mean, the Nuggets defense when it matters is strong, but I know I wouldn't lay with Denver in this price range on the second of back-to-backs off of last night's game. So that's a Dallas or pass for me. I just didn't, my number came a little bit higher, so I wasn't necessarily interested in the Mavs. And you talked about Miami, Atlanta. That was a tough loss for the Hawks last night. I was watching that game, too. They were in control of that contest. Even in the fourth quarter, they played really well. I worry about them bringing the same level of energy tonight. But, again, the Heat are not a team I'm excited about laying 8, 9, 10. They've been awful in the bigger home chalk roll and throughout the Eric Spoelstra era. So pass for me. Not even that close necessarily.
I agree with the breakdown of the Nuggets game. It was Mavericks or pass. Only one player, Jamal Murray, played over 30 minutes last night. And seeing Ski Profit really liking the depth of the Nuggets and leaning towards the Nuggets in this spot where I was initially going to make a move. I almost made a move at 6, and I saw it go down to 5.5. And it's a Mavericks or nothing, and I think it's going to be nothing for me at this point. Astute Chaos on the Hawks Heat. First half under 115.5 at a minus spot, and then under 115 at a plus spot. I understand that look a lot, Astute Chaos, but I'm still a little uncomfortable trying to figure out Atlanta's pace because, man, that first quarter, they put up 40, and then there was that huge red flag in the second quarter with just 25. It was clear that the Sixers were figuring out how to slow trade down. Okay, beautiful. I love it. There is the NBA and MLB. So let's get into NCAA football. And we had some nice breakdowns yesterday. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way we did it. It's a little bit different than we've been doing it because Teddy is taking a different angle this week instead of hammering it on the Sunday night, slowly move into it. And I'm excited to hear what came out after your work last night. So why don't you take it away? What's the first spot on the card that you've decided to make a move with?
Sure. And listen, I mean, the thought process here, I pretty much do the same thing the same way every single week. All right. And that consistency, I mean, has worked for me over the years. And I would, in general, I'm going to say, if you ask me how to do it, that's the way to, you don't want to really change your approach too much. That being said, I've had a couple of bad weeks. I'm not, I'm not in the rhythm that I want to be. So what I do, I changed it up on Sunday. I needed a break, and I didn't sit down and do what I normally do on Sundays. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. It means you just postpone it and then do your normal work on Monday. So got a chance to breathe a little bit on Sunday night. And then yesterday you sit down and you do your work, and that's that. And the process begins anew. The same process, just started a little bit later. So I did make 4 bets in college football over the course of the last 24 hours since yesterday's show. Let me give them to you. I played betting number 365, Oregon State +6 at Arizona. Arizona firing their defensive coordinator after last week's game. They've lost 4 in a row. Oregon State coming off the bye week. They've been hanging tough and pulling upsets. This is a bowl eligibility game for a team that hasn't been there in a while. I like the Beavers. I think they're quite live to win the game in Arizona against the Wildcats. So Oregon State +6. And, of course, I freaking wrote down the number, and I can't read my writing. I got Boston College. What betting number is Boston College? Is that? God damn it. Sorry. BC plus
333, 334.
330. There it is. 334. Thank you so much. BC. I took BC +3 at Syracuse. I think BC's better than Syracuse. That's what it was. It was 333. I just wrote 33. BC plus a 3 at Syracuse. I'm not a believer in the orange. As we've talked about repeatedly on this show, this is BC. It's not their bowl eligibility game, but it's the game that they need to win if they're going to be bowl eligible. I think they're the better of the two teams, and I'm catching points. And I would expect BC to be able to run the football against that Syracuse defense here. Carrier Dome, not the toughest of places to win this year. BC plus a 3, betting number 333. I took betting number 369, Ole Miss, and I was debating to wait or not, and I just pulled the trigger at 19.5. I thought 19.5 was a buy, even though the number's going up. I'm like, if it gets to 21, I'll be like, wow, that was stupid to buy it as early as I did. But I can't see it getting any higher. It's been a competitive series. You hate the spot for Auburn. You love the spot for Ole Miss coming off a win and a bye. And Tigers not a let's lay 3 touchdowns with type of team. I think Ole Miss is a live dog in that one. Again, betting number 369. And last but not least, the last game on the card, I put this in my pocket, Hawaii -2.5. I'm not a Fresno believer, and I continue not to be a Fresno believer. And Hawaii, from a defensive standpoint, the Bulldogs last year were thinking about 14 points a game. This year, they're at 31. Offensively, they're nowhere near where they were a season ago. And Hawaii bounced back with a nice win last week. I expect them to do it again. So Hawaii minus the 2.5, betting number 396. So Oregon State, Boston College, Ole Miss, 3 dogs, 1 favorite in Hawaii. That's the 4 bets that I've made over the last 24 hours.
Oh, I love hearing it. And what did you get Ole Miss at? Was it 19.5?
19.5.
19.
I got that this morning before we came on air. That was the 4th one. I bet the other 3 last night. That's available now at Heritage. There's 19 at Bovada, 19 at 5 dimes as we speak. Looking at the SBR Live Odds page.
Bookie Lover Q says Oregon State showed me something. I'm taking the points. Paco Healy says like that spot. Teddy. Anders Larson says love it. Teddy about Boston College says Q's sucks. Torino says Auburn has dominated teams with weak defenses like Ole Miss. I mean, you're getting 19.5. And then questions are coming in. And Eddie Euler saying Matt Duchene expected to play for Nashville tonight. That might be enough for me to pull the trigger. Although I really like my NHL card at this spot. But thank you for the heads up, Eddie Euler, our guy. All right, question number 1. And I have 2 questions also from yesterday's show. So why don't I just copy and paste? Why don't we start with Randy? Randy talking about the Baylor, West Virginia spot. And that is Thursday night. Same thing that we dealt with yesterday. Still 17.5 point favorites for Baylor here. And the total is about to pop up on my screen. And oh, shoot. Sorry, it says, sorry, here we go. Sorry, point spread, my fault. Let's just go right into it here. Baylor, West Virginia, 17.5. Are you developing a lean of any kind in this spot? This total opened up at 57 and is still there. Teddy covers West Virginia, Baylor.
I just want to respond to the Ole Miss has no defense first, because that's meaningful to me, because the reputation of Ole Miss is no defense. And they came into the season, I'm like, Ole Miss has no defense. And if you've actually watched Ole Miss play, McIntyre's a heck of a defense coordinator, and they've held 5 of their 7 opponents to 375 yards or less. They've given up more than 30 only twice all year. Ole Miss has a defense. When it comes to the Thursday night game, see, okay, I've got problems on both sides of this, and I'm not going to get involved with Baylor, West Virginia. There's no freaking way. All right, when you start to talk about, and Baylor's a good team. They are not an elite team. They're not going to be an elite team, but they're 7-0 right now. They've got a huge betting bandwagon. There's got a ton of attention on them. These are not the teams you're likely to be making money with over the back half of the campaign, especially laying this type of a price. The pressure's on them. The spotlight's on them. They're not hidden. They're not secret. And the pressure mounts with every increasing win. So, and Baylor's not a let's kill this team and win by big margins. I mean, that's just not how Rule Squad is built this year. I understand that they've had some wins by margin, but that's not their MO. If you take West Virginia, it's a leap of faith on the other end of the equation. This is a bad football team on both sides of the ball, and we've seen them get slapped around in some road games. Certainly the Missouri game, the Oklahoma game stands out where they were, non-competitive. And again, those teams are pretty darn good, and both of them are explosive offensively in a way that Baylor probably isn't. But when you're talking about taking bad teams in the midst of losing streaks on the road against quality foes, you're taking a leap of faith, and especially when we look at that. I mean, on both sides of the ball, West Virginia has been mediocre at best. This isn't an offense that I trust. It's not a defense I trust. They're not a good team. And that means it's an easy pass for me.
An easy pass in the Baylor spot. A couple questions I didn't get to yesterday. One was from our guy Moses Saucedo. Boise State, San Jose State. Boise State opening up at minus 16.5, now 17s and 17.5s. Actually, there's only one 17 on the board. They're all 17.5s. This total at 58 right now. And our big Ragu says Boise will roll. What do you think here? San Jose State, Boise State.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose just keeps overachieving, It's a hard team for me to step in front of. It really is. And, Boise, what are they, off a loss and a bye? It tends to be a pretty good spot. The BYU game gave them a little bit of a wake-up call. It's not a game that I had a strong initial take on, so I don't want to lead you the wrong way. And it's not a game I've done a ton of work on yet, so I don't want to lead you the wrong way. But San Jose, they just keep overachieving, and that makes me a little bit reluctant to stand in front of them.
That makes sense. They have been much better than we expected them to. And next spot that's asked about was yesterday. Kane in HD says, can you ask Teddy about Pitt versus Georgia Tech? Pitt versus Georgia Tech. I don't have... Oh, here we go. Number 317, 318. Pittsburgh opening up at minus 8, now 7.5. There is a 7 at minus 125 at BetOnline. And this total stuck at 44.5, has not moved. Teddy, Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech.
I'm not going to play it. I'm certainly not excited about the prospect of laying this type of price with a Pitt team that is losing turnover battles right now. I mean, the defense really, with the exception of that one game against Duke, the defense is 3 takeaways all year. It's not a defense that's making plays, and that we think about this Pitt team is defense first, and they're getting stops, but the turnovers haven't been there. And when we think about this Georgia Tech squad that finally got the win and the bye, it's not a bet-on spot for Georgia Tech. They know their season's garbage, et cetera, et cetera. And when you get that win and then have a chance to, hey, guys, you did a great job, pat on the back, and, you can come out looking like the Carolina Panthers did off the bye when Carolina didn't show in San Fran this past weekend. That can and does happen to teams like Georgia Tech. But to say, do I want to fade the Yellow Jackets? I don't, because you're talking about a team that didn't cover a point spread over the first half of the season. And when you didn't cover a single point spread, what happens is you get a little bit out of whack with how bad you actually are versus how bad the markets think you actually are. And that's how they were able to win straight up as an 18-point dog. Not a game I'm playing.
All right, let's keep rolling. AM Moneyline wanting to know what you think of this Utah-Washington spot. There is open Utah at -2 at Pinnacle, quickly got to 3.5. There are 4s at Heritage, Bet365, and Intertops. This total stuck at 47. And the question is from our guy AM Moneyline, he's leaning towards backing the home squad, Washington +4 at home. Do you support that look from AM Moneyline?
And I will answer that question in 1 second, but I want to ask you a question, Jimmy, because there's a lot of games where I'm going to pass. And the question is, sometimes I pass. It takes me like 3 minutes to pass. I give a case for both sides and say no. And other times I'm like, I really don't have a feel for it. I pass. Would you rather me pass shorter, or would you rather me give like a longer comment?
I love the longer breakdown
on why exactly I'm no interest in that game.
Yeah,
and that's just something for moving forward.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the way you're handling it. No, I find also, these guys who have angles on it, they love to hear exactly why you're staying off, and maybe if that correlates with their capping, they should stay. I love the way you're doing it. So keep
cool.
It.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that sometimes I'm passing and I feel like I'm going for 2 minutes while I'm passing, and it's a game that I've got no action on. But if I got to go pass and let's go on to the next one, that's fine too. Just let me know. Washington, Utah is a fascinating game. It really is. My gut is with Utah in this contest. And part of that's because I've stepped in front of the Utes a couple times and paid the price. No question. But Utah's has proven to me 2 things. One, I think Utah has the better of these 2 defenses. And Washington has the defensive reputation. Nobody's been running on Utah this year. And we've seen teams move the ball against the Huskies. So I believe that Utah more likely to be getting stops in this game than Washington. Of course, we look at that Utah offense. It's not sexy, but it's been very efficient. And Zach Moss has been unstoppable in recent weeks. So I can understand why Utah has taken the money that they have. Once you start talking about laying more than a field goal in this type of game, though, my interest in the favorite declines precipitously. And, in a game that feels like it's going to be tight, taking 4, I wouldn't talk you out of it. The time to take Utah was at 3 or less. And unfortunately, that time is largely come and gone.
Let's keep rolling, and we're going to stay in the pack. Prince of the City asking about a couple games. The first one is Oregon at USC. Oregon opening up at -4.5. Pinnacle's gone to 4, but everyone else at 4.5 still. This total open at 61, up to 63 at Pinnacle. Teddy covers Oregon, USC.
Sorry, I just checking getting the numbers there. Oh, it's right next to where I was. Duh. So this is an interesting. I keep saying this. The Pac-12's got a great slate this week, and lots of games that you think about. So Oregon had these ridiculous defensive numbers, and the last 2 weeks, Washington and Washington State have basically moved the football fairly effectively against them. And Oregon's been in these barn burner games. They come on the right end of both of them. From a straight up perspective, obviously not from an ATS perspective against Wazoo, but for a team that had monster defensive numbers through the first half of the campaign, now we're saying, well, gee, they played Stanford and Cal and Colorado and Nevada and Montana, all these teams that couldn't move the football, and those defensive numbers were somewhat fraudulent. And I have to look at Oregon's defense right now and go, no, this isn't the D that we thought it was even just a couple of weeks ago, which has us leaning towards USC. And then we talk about a Trojan team. We go, do we really think that USC is going to hang tough? It's a USC team that has played up or down to the level of their competition on a pretty consistent basis this season. It's a USC team that's been pretty good in the underdog role by and large. The one time they were dogs twice this year. Utah, they won straight up. Washington, they lost by 14, but they were right in that game. The Notre Dame game, they were dogs too, and they were in that game as well. Obviously, coming with a heck of a second half in that contest. And they've carried that momentum forward. From a pure talent perspective, USC can compete with this team. We've seen Oregon back-to-back barn burner games now laying points on the road. If we trust the Trojans, this might not be a bad spot to trust them. Lean here this is one of these, as I'm talking about it, the USC side's making a lot more sense to me than the Oregon side is, but I don't know that I trust the Trojans here. I really, we talked about it when we went to Colorado last week. I'm like, I love, USC. We like USC, the matchups and all this, but this is not a team we want to be laying doubles with on the road. And again, now they're not laying doubles on the road, but do we trust Clay Helton and the Trojans not to implode in a big game? That's iffy. But USC or pass. Probably pass.
USC or pass. Tom Marino says, I'd lean USC. Being good as an underdog, Oregon's defense got exposed. USC has been much better at home. So Tom Marino leaning towards USC as well. The next question from Prince of the City is rotation number 309, 310, North Carolina State versus Wake Forest. And Prince of the City leaning towards Wake Forest. Do you support the look for number 23 ranked Wake?
So, and I appreciate you giving the rotation numbers. By Thursday and Friday, I have an idea where these games are. Monday and Tuesday, I still don't have it all memorized in terms of rotation numbers yet. So sometimes I'm scrambling up and down the card a little bit as we're looking. So Demon Deacons have QB issues this week. They've had QB issues, and it's not like the backup's a huge downgrade from the starter. You beat Florida State, and they gained 424 yards of offense in that game, and it was a solid showing from a backup QB. So I'm not necessarily worried about the Demon Deacons QB situation. Certainly not compared to the NC State QB situation. They could be starting the Frosh again this week. That'd be 3 different starters the last 3 games. They have that extra time to prepare. They've also lost 2 of their last 3, and the Syracuse game wasn't particularly impressive either. NC State's struggling right now. They're not a team that, when we think about what they were or what we thought they might have been earlier in the season, a squad with 2 point spread covers on the year, not an easy take. But this isn't the price range that I'm looking to back Wake in. Wake minus a field goal, Wake in a game, I'm asking them to win. Wake in a game, I'm asking them to hang around. Sure. Wake with this defense, ask them to win by more than a touchdown is a little bit rich for me.
Little bit rich. I can understand that at 7.5. Next question from Prince of the City regards a total. That's rotation number 345, 346, going back to the pack. Colorado, UCLA opened at 65, now 65.5, a 66 at Pinnacle, and Prince of the City thinking about making a move on the over. What do you think about this total?
I don't love it. Colorado is not a team that I'm excited about asking to do anything right now, and especially they're coming off a game in which they gave max effort and they lost anyway. And, it's a slumping squad. Things are going wrong, and the offense has been hit or miss for extended stretches this season. So that worries me about the over here. I was glad I got off Arizona State last week and got on the UCLA side, and all of a sudden UCLA is looking interesting. But it's not an over. From a betting standpoint right now, Colorado's not a team I want to ask to do anything. I don't want them to get stops. I don't want them to score points. The only thing I want to do with the Buffs from here is probably bet against them.
Next question coming from Kanaskat. Rotation number 337, 338. Virginia, North Carolina. North Carolina opening up at -2. This total opening up at 47.5 and is creeping down 47. There's now a 46.5 on the board at Pinnacle. Teddy covers Virginia, North Carolina.
I'm still pissed at Virginia from last week. I had, the Cavs in that game, and they weren't the right side. I'll tell you that. And outgained and outplayed, and losing the turnover battle. Turnovers have been a problem for this team. 10 turnovers our last 4 ball games. That worries me here. The defense couldn't get a stop when it matters most. That worries me here. And we saw that again. I'm a little. I feel like my judgment on Virginia is clouded a little bit right now. So it's not a game I'm going to play. I'll tell you this. If all you're doing is just taking the points in Tar Heels games, you're doing pretty well. Has the favorite covered in any? The Georgia Tech game, North Carolina, the favorite covered. That's the only time this year a favorite's covered in a North Carolina game. So for whatever that's worth, they have been a dog-centric football team.
Next question coming up is from Gitter at 18. Says, can you ask Teddy what he thinks about Buffalo, Eastern Michigan? That is rotation number 335, 336. Eastern Michigan opening up at -1.5. Now 2s across the board. This total opening up at 50.5, and 50s have now hit the board. What do you think about this spot, Buffalo, Eastern Michigan?
So Buffalo's win over Central last week, it wasn't fraudulent, but it was all turnover related. Central went in, their score was like 7-3, and then Central proceeded to fumble on the first play of their next 2 drives deep in their own territory, and Buffalo got cheap touchdowns, quick touchdowns on both those, and the route was on. Central just didn't hang on to the football. But let's give Buffalo's defense credit for creating those turnovers. They created multiple turnovers now 4 times their last 5 ball games. That's a positive sign. It's not an explosive, and that's putting it mildly, Buffalo offense. If they can't run, they can't win. Eastern's shown some vulnerability on the defense side of the football, but after playing Western and Toledo the last 2 ball games, the last 2 weeks, this is kind of a step down in class, offensive class for sure. But Eastern's been so mediocre this year. I really thought they'd be a good notch or 2 better than they've been. And the fact, they're fighting Toledo to the wire and rallying back and coming up short, it does concern me here about the Eagles. And I got Buffalo dead wrong last week, so it's not a game I'm going to play. Slight lean Eastern, but it's slight. I'll leave it at that.
And we are running out of time. One more question coming in from Perfect Rotation. He says, ask Teddy, this is rotation number 373, 374, TCU, Oklahoma State. Perfect Rotation says, TCU coming off big Texas win. Could they be a play here against Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State opening up at -4.5, quickly down to -3 in this total at 64.5. Teddy, is TCU a buy-on team here against Oklahoma State?
TCU's shown me some sharp home road dichotomy, man. They've been good at home. They put them on the road, the Iowa State game, the Kansas State game, not within a touchdown of the point spread in either of those 2 defeats. The offense didn't work either time. And that TCU offense it's so hit or miss, man. They've got Rager's a hell of a weapon at wide receiver. And this Frosch QB can chuck it around when he has time. I was wrong about Okie State last week. I really, I know it wasn't so much about being wrong about Okie State. I was riding Iowa State until they lost, and they lost. But I didn't think that Okie State was the team that was going to do it. Positive turnover differential. The offense continues to make big plays. And that is a positive sign against, I guess a slight lean over in this game because it is. I've struggled with TCU's overs because the offense is hit or miss. But against this defense, I wouldn't be surprised if it hits, and I think Oklahoma State's going to hit some big plays. That's my slight lean. I would look at that to be a relatively high-scoring affair. Sidewise, I don't have a strong take early in the week.
Slight lean to the over in TCU, Oklahoma State. And there you have it, 2 days in to 5 days examining NCAA football and making moves. Teddy Covers has made his first 4 moves on the card. Oregon State +6, Boston College +3, Ole Miss +19.5, and Hawaii -2.5. Low baggers out there, follow this man on Twitter. Very fun follow at Teddy_Covers. Teddy Covers, thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon, and can't wait to keep hammering the card with you all week long. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers, Jimmy. Thank you, man. This show is cathartic, I come in, I've both yesterday and today, I came in the show, and I come out of the show, yeah, man, let's go have a good day. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the low baggers. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for all the kind words. Have a great day. Good luck. We'll talk tomorrow.
Oh, I agree with you, Teddy. This show does it for me as well. These guys in the chat, they just they inspire. They inspire. So we've seen Teddy's 4 looks. We didn't get to a couple questions. One from Ron Crawford, one from Lockin 24/7. I will ask them first thing on Wednesday morning. And going over my action here, I've got a lot, and I like it. Capitals plus 118 on the money line. Flyers, Penguins under 6.5 at minus 105. Hurricanes on the minus 1 line. That's minus 135 money line, plus 187 a puck line. I'm off Lightning, Rangers, and Oilers, Red Wings. I have some interest in the Predators. And then I'm on the Stars on the minus 1 line. I like that look quite a bit as well. In fact, the Stars on the minus 1 line, as well as the Stars on the minus 1 line is my best look, my favorite look on the card. And second, that under 6.5 in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, I like very, very much. In NBA, in the association, I'm on the Hawks first quarter, plus 2.5. I like that look as well. Trying to mess with Butler coming back. And sure, the Heat will take care of business in the long run with the Hawks coming off the second game of a back-to-back. But I like the Hawks early here. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much. We have a big late show this evening. DJ Big Boss and Drew Martin will be joining us. And Tuesday, late show means we are 1 week away from Maxwell Smart being on our late shows, hammering enormous amounts of NCAA basketball games for us. And I'm so excited about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. A great start to the day. And I've got a lot more work to do. Remember, catch us at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Audible. We got the Audible popping off today, myself and Donnie Rightside. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love it. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers.